Member for Chilliwack-Kent.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, and congratulations. I would like to begin by showing my gratitude to be speaking from Chilliwack-Kent, which is part of the Coast Salish community where I live and serve on the traditional territories of the Stalo Nation, Stahelis Nation, Pilalt, and Secwepemc tribes. As the MLA for Chilliwack-Kent, I am honoured to rise virtually today to speak on and support the throne speech. I would like to take a few moments to thank the people of Chilliwack-Kent for putting their trust and confidence in me to serve our beautiful, vast, and diverse community. The passion, dedication, and commitment to community in this constituency is inspiring, and I am so grateful to the members of local executive and the volunteers who dedicated their time and energy to the campaign and the election. For some, this was one of several campaigns they have worked on over the years, although not like any campaign they have ever worked on before. I appreciate their flexibility and creativity, and it was evident every day and made such a huge difference in our efforts. For others, this was their first experience and proved to be a challenging and unique effort. I want to say thank you for your passion and willingness to go outside of your comfort zone to help us win this election. I know some of you stepped up because you were moved to serve your community and get the message out, while others were called up as a personal favor, uncertain and a bit intimidated by the process, I'm sure. The fact that so many supported our work to reach out in non-traditional ways to our neighbors and communities made all the difference. I would specifically like to thank Mark Jackson, Fidel Copeland, Nicole Katterberg, Sean Baginski, and Christina Diddy for the generous and patient support of a new candidate. The hours and effort you committed to the campaign were invaluable. I would also like to thank all the youth who came out and supported us. Now, there will not be names here because I've been informed that it is not cool. And so some have asked not to be named. But I do want to acknowledge that stepping up to support what you believe in is cool. Supporting your community and working to make it better is a big deal. And I hope you feel proud that your efforts have made a difference, even if you were not yet old enough to vote. Your passion and willingness to get involved and work for what you believe in inspires me, so I thank you. My thank yous would not be complete without acknowledging the biggest source of my strength and support, my family. Thank you to my fierce mother, Lynn Easton, who raised me to be brave, to always speak up, to trust myself, and to lead with the heart of a servant. Thank you to my amazing partner, Drew, who has spent the last 20 years encouraging me, applauding me, and at times holding me up. I see the sacrifices he makes without complaint that allow me to serve my community. And even more than all the cheers, those quiet sacrifices have taught me so much about what it means to be loved completely and unconditionally. To my children, my amazing teenagers, thank you for the clarity and purpose you offer. You have reminded me throughout how important it is to speak up and amplify the voices of those who may not have the audience they need in order to be heard. You also keep me humble, very, very humble, as we discuss issues and ideas in the community, as you remind me that Facebook is only for moms, and as you share your realities and struggles with me. Thank you for your love and support, for being amazing humans, and I hope to make you as proud as I am of both of you. There are so many people in Chilliwack-Kent and across British Columbia who stepped up and supported our message that they can't be named individually. But I offer my sincere thanks to everyone who supported us, everyone who put their name forward to represent and serve their community, everyone who voted, and to the Premier and my colleagues here in this House. As I listened to the throne speech, I was filled with gratitude. Our lives have been turned upside down by the pandemic, and people are worried. In this throne speech, I heard the work of hope. This work that we are all charged to do will respond to what I hear from parents and teachers who are worried about schools and their families' health. It will respond to what I hear from families who have loved ones in long-term care and who are worried and missing their parents. What I hear from community members who are frustrated or upset about not being able to gather. It will respond to what I hear from those who live alone about how isolated they're feeling. Our work will continue to respond to the business owners who are not sure how the next days, weeks, or months will impact their business, because people are the economy, and as we invest in people, we're investing in our economic recovery. It'll also support the work from about what I hear directly from paramedics, nurses, educational staff, janitorial staff, support staff, cashiers, clerks, and so many other frontline workers about how strained they are, how low on resources they are, and how tired. Thank you for your service. We see you and appreciate your sacrifices and dedication. The issues that are important to the people of Chilliwack-Kent before the pandemic have not ceased to be important despite the focus on the priority of keeping people safe. There are critical issues here in so many areas. There's the emergency of the opioid crisis, which continues to take too many lives. And we know that here significant work is needed in the areas of infrastructure, education, childcare, mental health, affordability, agriculture, and climate action. Many of these issues have intensified during the pandemic, and there is much work to be done as we work towards our economic recovery to address the needs of Chilliwack-Kent. We continue to operate under the public health orders designed to keep British Columbians safe and to reduce the transmission of COVID-19. There is no doubt that not being able to gather in person for holidays is some bitter tasting medicine. And even though it is clear that it is necessary in order to ensure no one is missing when we come back together, it is not easy. The pandemic has demanded sacrifices from all of us, and people are tired. I know that my mother wants to hug her grandchildren, teams want to play, families need to be reunited, and our faith communities are working hard to conduct worship services and praise virtually to support their congregations. All of these sacrifices are to protect our healthcare system and schools. There are so many great examples of people who recognize their responsibility and are finding ways to connect safely. In reflecting on the throne speech, I could not help but think of a constituent in Chilliwack-Kent who embodies the spirit and message of the speech. Listen to the experts, support healthcare workers, and take care of each other. Inez Lewis is a registered nurse who works as the Strategic Operations Planner for the Stalo Service Agency, which is a First Nations Health Authority funded health provider to affiliated bands and local Indigenous community. Ms. Lewis is of Stalo, Anishinaabe, and Métis ancestry and has previously worked as a nursing supervisor and community nurse and a home care nurse to the nation. Over the past months, Ms. Lewis has been doing Facebook Live conversations through the Stalo Nation Facebook to speak directly with her community about COVID-19. This initially included daily updates to share information from public health, as well as to counter the misinformation she was seeing on social media. Over the months, updates have been weekly or bi-weekly, and most recently, the presentations have followed the reports from Dr. Henry. Ms. Lewis's focus on explaining the information in a culturally safe way and to answer specific culturally relevant questions directly from the community. Ms. Lewis describes her work as follows. I am a huge advocate for culturally relevant and culturally safe care. Our people need to feel safe in order to access services to improve health. It is my career commitment to build that bridge of trust and high quality of health services while upholding our culture and highest teachings brought forward by our elders. Ms. Lewis's open and generous sharing with her community was already a shining light on how each of us can support each other. However, recently her gifts to the community were expanded through unfortunate circumstance. I share with permission that last week, Ms. Lewis fell ill and received a positive COVID-19 test result. This was despite all of her careful adherence to the orders and precautions. Although struggling with symptoms and while resting at home, Ms. Lewis reached out to her community through Facebook Live to share the information and experience with her community, to demystify and generously offered up her experience to demonstrate that the virus does not discriminate, there is no shame, and it can happen to anyone. Later in the week, Ms. Lewis also shared that her household had received confirmation of diagnosis as well. This included her partner and 3 children, Zara, Zane, and Natuasis. Ms. Lewis's generosity with information was echoed by her 2 children, Zane and Zara Jasper. Although Natuasis is too young to participate, Zane and Zara shared their experiences of symptoms, testing, and emotions as they moved through COVID-19 and answered important questions from community with the same transparency as their mother in service to their community. Unfortunately, Ms. Lewis experienced a bout of respiratory distress later in the week that resulted in an emergency room visit by ambulance. This was a scary experience for her and her family, something she acknowledged in Facebook update with her community. Ms. Lewis also described in detail the care she received, which she described as high quality, educational, coming from the ambulance and emergency room staff, and wanted to share her thanks to the kind and respectful providers. In her comments to me, as she continues to experience symptoms, Ms. Lewis continues by saying, this reflects in our approach to align ourselves with the public health orders. We must find a way forward together to get past this pandemic in a good way and walk together with respect and kindness. For me, this echoed the sentiments delivered in the throne speech, which called on all of us to show resilience and support for each other and to be united in our efforts to keep people safe. This example of extraordinary effort and generosity reflects the teaching of Letsamot, one mind, one heart, as pronounced in the local dialect. My thoughts and prayers are with Miss Lewis and her family as they heal from this illness, and I extend my sincere gratitude for her service and personal generosity to the community. I ask that my colleagues support the throne speech and by extension recognize that the work that has been done and the work that has yet to be done requires our collective commitment as we work towards health and economic recovery, reconciliation, and climate action. We can take inspiration and courage from so many examples in our communities across British Columbia of how when we come together and when we share and are generous, when we take personal responsibility, we are mighty and we can meet the challenges we are facing. Let us not forget the lessons of how interconnected we are, how interdependent we are, and how able we are as a society to accommodate each other. Honorable Speaker, thank you for the opportunity to speak today. The throne speech represents the priorities of British Columbians, and I wholeheartedly support this pathway to moving us forward safely together. Thank you.